The History of the White House. Introduction. Welcome to today's documentary-style journey into the history of one of the most famous buildings in the world, the White House. It is more than just a home. It is a symbol of democracy, leadership, and the enduring story of the United States. For over 2 centuries, the White House has been the residence of presidents, the stage of global diplomacy, and the heart of American political life. But behind its grand white walls lies a fascinating tale of struggle, resilience, and transformation. So let's travel back in time through wars, fires, reconstructions, and modernization to uncover the complete history of the White House. Chapter 1. The Vision and Birth of the White House. Late 1700s. After the American Revolution, the United States needed not only a government, but also symbols to represent its identity as a new nation. One of the most important decisions was to establish a permanent capital city. In 1790, President George Washington signed the Residence Act, selecting land along the Potomac River as the new capital. While Washington himself never lived in the White House, he oversaw its planning. A competition was announced to design the President's House. An Irish-born architect named James Hoban submitted a neoclassical design inspired by elegant European styles. His plan was chosen in 1792, and construction began soon after. The foundation was laid in 1792, but building such a grand residence in a brand new capital city was no easy task. Enslaved African Americans, European immigrants, and free laborers worked side by side, carving stone and raising walls. By 1800, the house was ready for its first residence. That fall, President John Adams and First Lady Abigail Adams moved into the unfinished mansion. Abigail famously used the East Room to hang laundry, as the White House lacked proper amenities. Chapter 2. Early Years and Jefferson's Expansion. When Thomas Jefferson became president in 1801, he found the White House too plain. He expanded and improved it, adding stables, a wine cellar, and ornamental gardens. Jefferson envisioned the White House not only as a residence, but also as a people's house, where citizens could meet their leaders. It was during this time that the White House truly began to reflect the ideals of democracy, open, accessible, and symbolic of unity. Chapter 3. The War of 1812 and the Burning of the White House. In 1812, war erupted between the United States and Great Britain. By 1814, British forces marched into Washington, D.C., and set fire to many government buildings, including the White House. First Lady Dolly Madison became legendary for saving a full-length portrait of George Washington before fleeing the mansion. The flames gutted the White House, leaving only its charred outer walls. Rebuilding began almost immediately, once again led by James Hoban. By 1817, President James Monroe was able to move into the restored residence. The White House stood not only as a home, but also as a symbol of survival and resilience. Chapter 4. Growth, Style, and 19th Century Changes. Throughout the 19th century, the White House grew in size and importance. New wings, gardens, and decorative features were added. Gas lighting and running water were installed, followed later by electricity. Presidents used the mansion for both private living and public entertaining. Lavish state dinners, holiday celebrations, and foreign visits transformed the White House into a stage for American diplomacy. In 1861, Abraham Lincoln moved into the White House during one of the darkest times in American history, the Civil War. His years in the mansion were marked by struggle and tragedy, yet Lincoln often welcomed ordinary citizens into his office, reinforcing the White House's role as the people's house. Chapter 5. The Theodore Roosevelt Renovations, 1902. By the early 1900s, the White House was overcrowded. President Theodore Roosevelt had 6 children, and the mansion was straining under both family life and government business. In 1902, Roosevelt commissioned a major renovation. The White House was modernized with new plumbing, electrical systems, and redesigned interiors. The most important change was the creation of the West Wing, separating the president's workspaces from his family's living quarters. This change forever shaped the White House into both a home and an office, allowing presidents to balance personal life with national duty. Chapter 6. The West Wing and Oval Office. In 1909, President William Howard Taft expanded the West Wing further, adding the now iconic Oval Office which has since become one of the most recognizable rooms in the world. From this room, presidents have made historic decisions, addressed the nation, and even guided the world during times of crisis. The Oval Office represents more than power. It embodies the continuity of the presidency across generations. Chapter 7. The Truman Reconstruction. 1948-1952. By the mid-20th century, the White House was literally falling apart. The building's wooden frame, weakened by age and modifications, made it unsafe. In 1948, engineers declared the mansion at risk of collapse. President Harry Truman and his family were forced to move across the street to Blair House while the White House underwent a massive reconstruction. The interior was gutted, leaving only the original stone exterior. A new steel frame was built inside, preserving the historic exterior while making the structure safe and modern. By 1952, the Trumans returned to a White House that was both historic and renewed. Chapter 8. The White House in Modern Times. Since Truman's reconstruction, the White House has continued to evolve. Presidents have left their mark with redecorations, new technologies, and additions such as the Rose Garden and Press Briefing Room. John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy famously restored historic furnishings, bringing cultural prestige to the mansion. Later, technology brought television broadcasts, live press briefings, and global diplomacy directly from the White House to the world. From hosting world leaders during the Cold War to peace agreements like the Camp David Accords, the White House became a stage for international history. Chapter 9. Symbolism of the White House. The White House is more than bricks and mortar. It symbolizes the presidency, the American people, and the nation's ideals. It has survived wars, fires, and political storms, yet it continues to stand as a beacon of democracy. It represents the openness of government. As thousands of visitors tour the White House each year, walking through rooms where history was made. For Americans, it is both a workplace and a home, a reminder that leaders are not kings or monarchs but servants of the people. Conclusion. The enduring legacy. From its cornerstone in 1792 to the present day, the White House has witnessed revolutions, wars, celebrations, and tragedies. Every president has shaped its history, and every era has left its mark on its walls. Today, the White House remains one of the most iconic buildings in the world, a home, an office, and a symbol of freedom and democracy. And so when we look at the White House, we see not only the residence of a president, but also the story of a nation, resilient, evolving, and always striving toward its ideals. Closing line for video. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of the White House. If you enjoyed this documentary-style video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from history.